Do 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 do. This portly man's cracked and bleeding hands are always moving, picking fretfully at his thick lips, running through his thinning hair, or molding aimless shapes in the air. His clothes are marked with paint, dust, dried blood, and clay. His eyes brim with frustrated tears as he studies the strangely familiar sculptures arrayed around him. A soul like slivers of ice, he mutters. Fingertips long, shriveled, sharp. Screams, trapped in flesh. She holds him in place. She's killing him. He's not looking at her. Why? Why isn't he? Afraid? No. He claws absently at his sparse beard. What am I not seeing? What am I missing? Scanning thoughts. Who was he? What was he feeling? Without that, I can do nothing. What's wrong? Everything, he says without a moment's pause, effortlessly drawing you into his self-directed tirade. Every detail is almost right, which means everything is wrong. I am Zaofi, stone carver, sculptor, divine painter of living eyes, and in this challenge, my greatest work, my talent has finally abandoned me. He sweeps a scornful hand at the sculptures. Behold my art, wanderer. Witness these dull stumps, these crude replicas of sublime being. What is it you think I've made? And let's try to recall why the sculptures look so familiar. And we can get up to 80%. Well, that'll have to be good enough on it. Success! But not a critical. You stare at the sculptures. Your memories flow into its sweeping curves, teasing you with what you've seen in your short life and beyond. Yes, this towering thing is the true form of the creature that pursues you. Zaofi has sculpted the sorrow. You don't realize that you've spoken aloud until you hear Zaofi's gasp and see the tears in his eyes. Yes, sorrow, or even grief, is present in the work. I feel it, but where? I cannot pull it from the stone. I saw this creature on a cold night not long ago. Smoking coronas of blackened light drew me to my window. Zaofi says, shaping the scene with his palms. And there, on the street below, was she, gripping a man in her talons. Before my very eyes, she ripped his essence from him, leaving him a steaming husk. He drops his hands. But what do you care? You don't grasp the importance of capturing such a subject. Let's see. Should we go with, of course I do. She is mysterious and fascinating. Or, no, we should probably do number 4. I've seen aspects of her. Maybe I can help you capture the details. But it's really interesting. I don't remember this from the beta and talking to him. The sorrow is a female. It's a lady. It's not just a mass of tentacles and darkness. It's actually a woman. This is interesting. This is not something I picked up before. It's a woman. I've seen aspects of her. Maybe I can help you capture the details. Zaofi stares at you, dumbfounded. You think I'm trying to sculpt the killer? He says, and then immediately corrects himself. Of course I am. I've succeeded, in fact. She is beauty and vengeance incarnate. What artist worth his metal couldn't capture such a being? Zaofi clucks his tongue. But she doesn't need to be remembered. How could anyone forget such a lethal creature? No, the source of my ruin in this damnable man. Zaofi points a trembling finger at the faceless human cradled in the statue's talons, a charred, oddly familiar pattern etched on the stone head. He stared eternity in the face and did not blink, but he will not be forgotten unless I capture him here. But he will be forgotten unless I capture him here, and I cannot do that unless I know what drove him. Zaofi swallows. The moment he fell, I ran for the street, but the Dendro her claimed his body and took it away, probably to their foul chapel in the underbelly. Now, I'll never know who he was. How many statues of this being have you made? Ah! If only my efforts could be limited so. I've sculpted that blasted moment in marble, granite, and clay. I've painted it in oil and blood. It even follows me into sleep, while I weave the scene from clouds and dream stuff. A frustrated tear rolls down his cheek. Even those were flawed. Artists, Tibber mutters. You think they'd be happy, bunch? They slap paint on a canvas and somebody pays them for it. But no, they thrash about in their sleep, moaning and stealing at all the sheets. You turn your attention back to Zaofi. Is there anything else you can remember about the creature that killed your subject? What a surprise, Zaofi says with a ragged, scornful sigh. Yes, let us ignore the incandescent flare of this stranger's brief life and focus on his murderer. She is so much more glamorous. He grips his sparse hair as if it's going to fall out and glares at you. That's what you want, isn't it? That's what everyone wants. Scanning thoughts. Like so many, she wants flash and flourish, but humanity is what truly inspires. No, I want to see this moment fully to understand why it inspires you so much. Oh, of course, Zaofi says, a flattered blush rising on his cheeks as he directs your attention to his work. I captured her as I saw her, perfectly. See the dexterous, overlong fingers, the flesh formed of shrieking prey. But there was more to that moment than even I could capture here. In studying her from my window, I knew that she did not belong in our world, and yet I could not help but see her there, as though she was forcing me to accept her presence. Zaofi licks his lips. To look upon her is to see death made flesh, and yet her victim saw her and did not flee. Why? What granted him such bravery when we lesser creatures cower at the coming of the night? Tell me about the Dendro her. They are a cult and a curse, Zaofi says. They would have you believe they exist to preserve the great works of humanity, to celebrate life. You may even believe them until you smell their breath. The truth is that they squat in their underbelly chapel, eating corpses and claiming it gives them power. If I learn anything about your subject, I'll let you know. And it's kind of a shame. I probably should have picked another one and told him that I was being hunted as well. I think he would have really latched onto me if I did then.
Making a note.
But hey, we got a new quest. The sorrows pray.